The story of the West End's most haunted strip mall. Yes, really. So I do a presentation called Ghosts of Gayton, um, where I talk about the hauntings across the West End, specifically in the Tuckahoe area of the West End. This is where I live. This area does have a really tragic history that is well documented that I do talk about in my presentation. I go over the history. Basically, what happened out here in Tuckahoe, this was a huge coal mining area. Gayton was a coal mining village, and the coal mines were located like pretty much exactly on the property of Lakewood Manor Retirement Home. I've actually spoken over there, and people were very scared to hear about this. Um, but yeah, that's where a lot of the mining was centered. I've taken people hiking back there. We've like even seen the old mines and stuff. You can still see them back in the woods. Basically, the mines were run by a company that was running an incredibly unsafe operation. This was a very common thing back in the early 1900s. The late 1800s into the 1900s, you had the labor movement in America. The labor movement was in response to unsafe work environments, people getting killed in the workplace. Like people would die in the workplace because there wasn't safety regulations, get killed by falling machinery. There were people dying in these mines, namely because of explosions that were caused by um lack of policy. I mean, really caused by lack of policy, lack of safety regulation, lack of safety enforcement, and in some cases, straight up ignorance of safety. Again, there's a lot of documentation on how these explosions occurred and what the workers were doing at the time, and yeah. After 27 people died in four consecutive explosions, the mines were shut down by the state. Um, and then they passed mining law in Virginia because of the Gayton mines. Um, the like Mine Safety Inspection Act, I think is what it's called, was passed in 1912. Um, and the Office of Mine Safety Inspector was created in 1914, which enforced inspection of coal mines. And again, this is a very slow process. We're still in like 1912, 1914, when there was very slow progress on the labor front. But yes, the shocking thing that I found was coal mining labor unions were a thing in Virginia at the time. Um, so that's all crazy to me. Um, but yeah, that's the history of Gayton. That's what happened in Gayton. This we believed is connected to the extreme paranormal activity in this area. No, it might not be. I have a lot of people presenting different theories. It could not be that. We don't exactly know what it was. My presentation is about the tragic history of the area, connecting it to a possible haunting, although we don't know what it's from. Um, there's a lot of ideas. Now, I am a practicing witch, I'm a practicing occultist. There's a lot of ideas that quartz crystal holds energy and can generate energy, and like it is believed that quartz crystal like can contribute to the paranormal. And that quartz crystal is found in riverbeds. Here in Richmond, we're on the river, obviously, and there's a lot of streams out in the Gayton area. These mines were actually sourcing their water directly from Tuckahoe Creek, so there's a lot of that. One of the places out here in Gayton is the Gayton Crossing Shopping Center. This is located at the intersection of Gayton and Perham Roads in the West End. And I tell people about this, and I'm like, yeah, there's a haunted strip mall out there. And they're like, they can't believe this. Like, yeah, we've heard of hauntings in people's houses. Like, a haunted house is pretty average. Haunted strip mall is definitely not something you hear about very often. Um, so my friend works at one of the stores up there, and claims that this place has like poltergeist activity, like full on. Like she's seeing stuff flying off counters in there. They have like electrical glitches, power going off. She's heard hearing voices in there. Um, and I'm a medium, So I talked to dead people, and she invited me to come up there and check the place out. I'm the first person to admit that I don't think everything mediums sense is fact. It's it's likely possible and likely that a medium will know fact, but it shouldn't be substituted for real documentation is what I'm saying. So I went up there and I read the situation. I read a male spirit that's really angry, and it's in connection to a female that he was very angry at. And he's haunting this place because of something she did, and he's very angry at her. And it's specifically connected to this woman and what she did to him. And I remembered specifically the detail that she's wearing a red dress, because when I connect with spirits, I sense what they look like. Um, so basically, the facts are I'm a researcher and historian. Please do your research. I encourage everyone to do research. If you want tips on doing research, I'd be happy to share this with you. Looked into the property records. The land that the shopping center is on was owned by husband and wife, and one of them died before the sale was completed. Like the sale was in progress when one of them passed away, and the other completed the sale. That is documented. So we do have that on record. Is it possible that could lead to haunting? Maybe, but who knows? Um, I've been told by various employees of this place about how haunted it is from paranormal activity going on up in all the stores. I specifically hear about this in one store up there that going back to like decades. And the haunting stories go back. I actually interviewed the daughter of a construction worker who built that place, who claimed there was paranormal activity going on there during the construction. Um, so one of the stories about this place is a true story, a tragic true story, and this was in the 80s. Um, there is the intersection of Quioccasin and Gayton is now a four-way intersection. At the time in the 80s, it was a two-way street, and it was a sharp right turn. So it went like this, and then it went like this. This is on maps from the 80s. So basically the street now is extended to the four-way intersection, but then it wasn't. I have been told by numerous people that there was no lights on this road. There was very little signage, and it was extremely dark at night. And driving through this, you could not see the turn. I've been told by people who were living here back in the 80s this was a terrifying road to drive through. Um, I was told there were numerous fatalities on this road. I've interviewed people who knew people who died on that road, and it was called Dead Man's Curve by the locals. My friend who works at the haunted store is sensitive and claims that she gets extremely nervous driving down that road. Um, I personally notice if you're from the area, you know that there are two cement walls like holding up the hills or something on that road. And if you walk through there, the sound is so strange. And I really think it's the acoustics from these cement walls, but you really feel like the sound is like surrounding you, and it's very disorienting and weird. So that's another like weird aspect of that. Um, the hauntings, electrical glitches, lights flashing on and off, switches flipping, stuff flying off counters, extends to the whole area. You might know some of these buildings are new. Some of them were constructed in the last year. I do have people commenting on, like, how can a new building be haunted? A new building can be haunted because of the land that it's on. I've done public speaking with Steve Dills and Transcend Paranormal. You may have heard us present at Nightmare Weekend 2024. Sorry, Nightmare Weekend 2023, where he discussed the stone tape theory. Stone tape theory is a thing in the paranormal that, like, basically, like, the ground holds memories, and the ground holds the impact of what happened. The haunting may be residual or intelligent. In the case of Gayton, I believe is intelligent and residual because I have accounts of both. So it's all very weird and interesting.